You are now listening to For All Nerds Show, a podcast about geek and pop culture from the perspective of people of color. For All Nerds is hosted by DJ Ben Amin and Tatiana Keene Jones. For All Nerds Show is a member of the Loudspeakers Network, where we always say rest in peace to our founder, Combat Jack.
For All Nerds Show is powered by our listeners. Everything we do, from our podcasts, live events, our website, are all independently funded. Please continue to support us through our Patreon page at patreon.com/forallnerds. Welcome to For All Nerds. Welcome, Internet, to another episode of For All Nerds, the podcast that knows everything about everything, right? Because we are here today with an all-star episode. We're doing things a little bit differently, as you can see. I am one of your hosts, Tatiana King, a.k.a. T'Challa Bread, a.k.a. the Ting of the North. I'm going to keep it light right now. And, as usual, I am joined by my incredible co-host.
It's your boy DJ Ben Amin, a.k.a. keep that same energy on when you see me, Quantum Leech, a baby Max. Pee-wee and Peter Parker.
Hey, baby Max.
Yeah, I'm done.
You said it with so much fervor.
I always laugh at my own jokes, and that ruins it all. So I'm just going to stop right there and reintroduce. You might have seen them, this might be your first time seeing them on here, or it might be your second. Who knows? It depends. It depends on a lot of equations and things going on, variables. But the Black Gay Comic Geek, please reintroduce yourself to the audience out here.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Michael, a.k.a. Black Gay Comic Geek, a.k.a. Captain Gay America, a.k.a. Spider Gay, a.k.a. Winter Holder. And so, yeah, you can find me at Black Gay Comic Geek across all social medias. I like to talk about, I always say the things I love to talk about on my channel has blood, sex, gore, and magic, any variation of the force. I talk superheroes, video games, comic books, action movies, horror, all of that stuff through a Black queer perspective. So come swing on over to my channel.
Winter Holder?
Winter Holder.
Love it.
I love it.
Very good.
I just came up with that, too. I'm like...
I'm kind of at a loss for words. I'm still thinking about Captain Gay America.
That was classic.
Yeah, you
that
need like Captain Gay Krakoa. You need like the whole, you need them all after that one.
I'm gonna come up.
Yeah, keep them going. All right, all the captains. All right. Also, we have who's like thinking of some AKs, I think right now, Miss Regine Sawyer.
Hey y'all, Regine from Lock It Down Productions, Women in Comics Collective International. I got a little bit of AKA, so AKA Lock It Down, AKA Lois Loki, AKA Bobo Katan. I love that one because I love Bobos.
Bobo Katan, very nice. Cute. All right. And we also have
Rod Morrow. You guys know me from the Blackout Tips. I'm just running back my other AKAs, AKA Aaron Jägermeister, AKA Fave Runner 2049, AKA Third Eye Samurai, AKA Monica Rambo, AKA The Rod of Stories. Some of y'all need to stop being a Kosuke because you scaring the Hokages. Kamala, Universal Fan Con, and of course, Professor Flex Xavier.
Not
excellent.
The Rod of Stories.
I like that.
Flex Xavier, a cousin to Flex Luthor. Thank you. Very nice.
I have to say something real quick though, Rod. Are we no longer by your former moniker? Because I hear you introducing yourself as Rod Morrow now.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've been out here so hard, so long at this point. I forgot. Like, once I got a job writing for Game Theory, I feel like people just know my government now. So I just say it. It's like, what am I?
IMDb.
Yeah, I'm on IMDb. I'm on all the, it's like, they know. So, you see me in the streets.
No, it's that Flex, though. He's like,
Right. I thought you were just like,
I'm writing for Game Theory. I'm like, damn.
yeah, I thought you were just like in another tax bracket or something. And, you moving different.
Technically, but even with like writing for Drapetomaniacs, they I didn't know they were gonna do it, but they were like, and Rod Morrow's on it. I was like, oh, okay, so we saying my name. All right, cool.
Yeah. All right, well there we go.
Tatiana the King, like the Grand Duchess of Tech. Don't be going out here by our government. It's just, it is what it is.
Listen, I've been doing it, okay? I've
Exactly.
been doing it, so it is what it is.
Really think my last name is Hameen, so
That's true.
I'm gonna keep rolling with it and not reveal any more than that.
Also, like Rodimus Prime trademark, so I won't get sued.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I didn't realize.
This
Damn.
is true.
Hasbro show up like, now what you say your name was?
Morrow.
Roderick Morrow, sir. Never heard of Rodimus Prime.
Oh my god! All right, so we are back. We are talking all things Loki. Loki season 2. Everything about the series that we loved, that we hated, that we had questions on, as well as how we felt about the finale. And is this a series finale or a season finale? Or
This is it.
What is this?
It's up in the air at this point.
Because I just thought about it.
I think it's
know.
over.
Is it over?
I think it's
like,
over.
Is it done?
Yeah. The writers said that this was a 2-part story that they wanted to tell. Now, whether or not Marvel's like, we need more money, which I don't think so because they got a bajillion characters. But the writers said this was the 2-part story they wanted to tell, and we done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Hiddleston's been going around doing talking about, I've been playing this dude for 15 years now. I'm good. So, yeah.
So he was just over it. So you just think that that's why they're going to take a break now.
Hey, at least a break. I'm sure he'll show up in cameos and stuff like that. At some point, the producers also said, that, having the sunshine on Thor and Loki is something that they, wanted again, because that's what Loki says to Thor in Infinity War before he gets murked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Between Loki season 1 and Loki season 2, which ones did y'all like better?
I didn't see 2.
Ouch.
Mm.
Set it off.
I did not watch 2.
Damn.
To my good sis and my good brother on For All Nerds, and I didn't watch that shit.
We didn't say it was
Well, wait,
unwatchable.
Let me ask you though. I know you didn't watch it because we said well, first of all, we said it was entertaining.
I would have said don't watch Moon Knight out of the two.
Yeah, that I would have told you.
She threw y'all under the bus.
I know.
But that's also what we said. We said we were entertained. But damn, Regine, okay. But why didn't you watch it? It couldn't have been that we said we said we were entertained.
No, it just wasn't just that. It didn't. I wasn't moved to watch it. I just wasn't moved. I mean, I will. And obviously, I'm here. I don't mind being spoiled at all. So I wasn't moved.
What'd you think about season 1? Did you is that why you didn't come back?
I enjoyed season 1.
Oh,
I know
okay.
I really, really enjoyed season 1. I really, truly did.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it was Secret Wars.
Yeah, Secret Invasion was bad.
Invasion, yeah. I don't know if that gave me a bad taste in my mouth, but I just said I need a Marvel break.
So you don't trust Disney, Marvel, Disney Plus?
I know.
Oh, I heard Michael say something. He does not. Why do you not trust the House of the Mouse of Marvel? What's your problem?
Because at least when it comes to Disney Plus shows, they all start strong, but then
this didn't.
For the most part, they start strong, but then after that, they never stick the landing. But when it comes to Loki, honestly, I haven't liked Loki that much.
What?
Really?
You didn't like the first season?
Not the character. I love the character, but the show has bored me for the most part. The only thing about Loki, both season 1 and season 2, that got me interested were the last episode. So the last episode of season 1, last episode of season 2. That's the only time I was like, okay, I'm interested. But other than that, this whole season could have been an hour.
Yeah.
Well, that's not. You're not wrong there. You're not wrong. Rod, what did you think between the 2 seasons?
I'll be the outlier. I love Loki. I think it's some of the smartest writing. It might be too smart because I have friends that are like, I can't follow this shit. How do you follow this or whatever? I'm like, I mean, you do have to think about it a lot. There's a lot of callbacks, a lot of timeline manipulation, a lot of time working in one way over here, but in the multiverse, it don't work that way with the cause and effect. And it definitely lost viewership. I think 40% of people didn't watch this compared to the first season. So whether that's Secret Invasion or just people not liking the first one that much, but I enjoyed it. I think it still has the same flaws a lot of Marvel series has. Secondary characters basically just there. When you make TV 6 to 8 episodes at a time, you put yourself in a pigeonhole where you don't develop anybody but the main guy. You don't have time. And we lost something with that. You know, as much as people shit on those Marvel shows on Netflix, they were 13 episodes. Like, by the end of it, you cared about characters that, you know, you just were getting introduced to. With this one, I felt like I didn't care about anybody basically but Loki. But anyway, as far as a character development for Loki, like as a series, I like that. I like they actually, to me, for the first time in a long time, took the time to redeem a character that I didn't know could be redeemed. And a lot of times they do that in shortcuts in movies and other series, and it just doesn't hit the same for me. I'm like, I don't know, they didn't earn it. I felt like he earned his redemption at the end of how many 12 episodes or whatever.
Ben?
Yeah, I didn't. I don't like, especially this.
No.
I think the thing with it is kind of what Regine was talking about when we were talking about the Marvels, is how when you watch things in retrospect, it can redeem things. Like when you watch Thor: The Dark World, because you have all this later stuff with Thor where you know how much his mom means to him, it hits a little different. But without that, it doesn't. And I feel like Loki does a lot with this character where I love season 1, and I was highly entertained by season 2. I didn't love it as much. I thought the problems that I saw from the very beginning were going to become bigger problems by the end of the series, and I wasn't, to me, very much misguided in that. I thought that they just kept repeating things and kept doing things over and over again, and then even by the final episode, we had things just being done over and over again in the final episode, which I found completely hilarious when Timely's getting torn apart or when He Who Remains getting stabbed over and over again. I thought it was hilarious, but I also thought it was just could have been shrunken down, which a lot of things in this could have been shrunken down and could have got through it quickly or timelier fashion.
I hear what you're saying, Rod, about it. Like if they had more episodes and more time to flesh it out. But I also think like we've seen stories and TV where they do have the same amount of episodes and they're really able to draw a compelling story because they do it with a lot of like
keep in mind, I like it, but even in those other things that you're gonna name, I don't feel like secondary characters get as much when you have 6 to 8 episodes. It's just it's damn near impossible. It's like we can make one character be a fully fleshed out 3-dimensional person. True. We don't have time for 8 people to be 3-dimensional. And that's like a problem with the Marvel Disney studio production thing. You don't have a head writer. You don't have a showrunner. Yeah. And so you have executives making decisions, and it's like playing with toys, right? They're not looking at it the same way as like these are characters. They need to know why Mobius doesn't want to go back or whatever. It's like, we'll just give him like 1 minute where he see his kids and then we go. That shit to me hurts the product overall.
Yes.
But you're right.
The Loki part of it, just the Loki part, consider this is not the Loki that like killed all like everybody. This is like he didn't get to go through the rest of the Marvel universe. This is a dude they pulled out after the first Avengers.
Right.
And then
after he did his fuck shit in New York.
Right. And then he went through the moral arc that we got to see the other one go through when Thanos killed him. He went through that shit like in this. Like to me, he did earn his redemption, even though you could argue he wasn't as evil as the other Loki, but I don't know.
That's the thing. I would argue that this Loki is I feel they both go through a redemption arc, like you said, but I feel like this one's redemption arc, especially there were points in this one where he made statements like when he says the statement to Sylvie that we are gods. I'm like, oh yeah, this is still that evil ass Loki. All he did was watch a movie.
But he didn't say it. He didn't say it in the way of hubris. He said it in the way of responsibility. Like we can't shirk this because her thing was like, fuck all this. Let these motherfuckers die. And he's like, our responsibility. Like she's like, what are we gods? He's like, yeah, nigga, we can't let everybody die. I'm sorry. You know. Okay. So I think he learned more responsibility, and it really hit me because it's really timely. His big like breakthrough in the second to last episode when he realizes that he's just gonna be fucking lonely, and these are his fucking friends, and that like loneliness is an epidemic right now. So like that shit resonated as a character moment because I think that's the same thing the other Loki had to go through. But we got this a different way. And I've marveled at the writing and how they were able to get there here and still get to the core of the character. I still have issues with the series, but like I said, the Loki parts to me are the least problematic of the parts.
I'll agree there because I think my biggest problem with the series was the lack of Sylvie being anything more of a prop in the second season. And I felt like in the first season, they gave her a lot more. And then in the second season, they introduced characters like OB, who to me is just a joke, really, and pointlessness. Because he's just another Casey, for that matter, who's another pointless character. And I just felt like all this time was wasted with them. Waste time.
B15,
Yeah.
Especially like Sylvie, because I would argue she's the co-lead of season 1.
She's the co-lead.
And in this season, I wouldn't have called her the co-lead because she just want to go to McDonald's.
Yeah, she's a prop.
Basically, she's trying to get that Big Mac.
Like that's no offense, but to me that's like such a terrible arc to be like the person that had the most agency in the first season is just basically gonna be like the father in American Beauty or whatever. When Kevin Spacey went to McDonald's and was like, "Can you just give me the job with the least amount of responsibility?" I'm like, "No, nigga, you had the all the continuity in the palm of your hand. You killed the man who took away freedom of choice." And your choice is to work at McDonald's, my nigga.
And that's another thing. I want to let everybody, because I feel like the debate about He Who Remains isn't very clear to me. It's like, he doesn't seem that bad. I think the problem is because he says clearly that if you kill me, the Canes are coming.
Right.
And so at the end of this, even though they do write it where the Canes, and we'll get to all that, it's still Loki is choosing to make it where the Canes are coming. And so an intergalactic war is coming. He might be there, I guess, to just rub them out now, which, it's kind of ambiguous on that one. But the idea, I just feel like the idea of what is free will isn't very much, because all the Avengers, everybody's been making their choices in this mainstream timeline. And horrible shit has still been happening with He Who Remains being there. Horrible shit is not going to stop because Loki is there. Otherwise, you wouldn't have movies. So I don't get it. It's pretty much you're trading one person for the other. Is my thing with you.
I do want to say though, when you said that time montage was too long, I disagree. That time montage was so fucking dope because it was all acting. They didn't show like the frustration. And yet patience, but also like just enough patience to get through the ordeal. That's all Tom Hiddleston's acting. Like when he's like, "Yeah, I know Morbius is. I'm gonna take his job." Ha. Yeah. Okay, now no, you need to, but make sure you tape over your helmet. They did that without showing us like, and then he didn't tape over his helmet, and then he died, and then he did this. That's normally how they do that shit. They normally do that motherfucking Groundhog Day shit. This one was all just. This man is so frustrated. He must have done this 1,000 times.
He did for centuries.
That part I'm not talking about. I'm talking about when Timely himself is getting splattered over and over again.
Yeah, that was short. That was like maybe 3 minutes of the whole episode. That normally that could be its own episode of just like TV shows will do like the loop. We all have that loop episode of every show we love where you like, damn, they did that shit for an hour. They did that for about 3 minutes.
That's a long time to me, Rod. I ain't gonna help.
You saying about the musical 15 minutes? That was too long.
That was too long.
But 15 and 3. Y'all cheating me right now.
No,
3 minutes is not as long as 15.
But I'm not gonna hold you, Rob. But my thing is, I feel like a lot of the season did that. Episode 1 ends where the characters are exactly where they were at the beginning of episode 1, and a lot of the season did that. Sure, Loki himself might be learning minor lessons, but it's not even very shown until, like you said, episode 5 and 6, where he's really starting to learn these lessons. Episode 1, especially me, that's where I was like, oh, they're wasting time.
So to me, that's not a problem because the first season is a time loop. That's the whole point of the first season is it essentially, how do you break a time loop and you end up at this point, this nexus point, right? Then it's like, we broke a time loop. How are we going to what is going to replace it? Because it's going to unravel everything. And to me, the narrative progression was not just at the end of episode 1, they're back to, at the end of episode 2, they're back to where they were at episode 1. Like, shit was happening and I was very compelled each time of like, okay, they're moving forward, but how are they going to solve this? I really think we don't get into the repeating, repetitious time shit until you get to that last episode 5 and 6 is when you get to the like, oh, this is just a different version of what we just saw before. But that felt purposeful, not like they bumped into that.
Okay, but what about the shit that was like straight up boring? Like I didn't understand these long drawn out scenes of doing nothing, like sitting around eating fucking key lime pie. What was the point? Like, it wasn't a contemplative quiet moment where they're talking about their hopes and fears and all like that. It was just you're fucking sitting there and I'm hearing the ASMR of you eating fucking pie. Like, I didn't understand it.
Conversation is adding more to the plot or anything along those lines. I think this is my biggest problem with Loki, both season 1 and season 2. I feel like it shouldn't even been a Loki show. It should have been called TVA, because yes, Loki was in every single scene and everything like that, but it really wasn't his show. He was there, but he technically, until you get to the last episode of season 2, he wasn't the one really driving the plot. It wasn't, it was everything around him, and he was just reacting to that. And then also, something I disagree with Rod, where he was like, the character development, at least with Loki, I feel like, me personally, I don't think Loki had any character development in this show. And part of the reason why I feel like it's not his show, like, yes, he did change. He's not evil, but we already knew that from the 10 years he was already in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Where Loki is now is exactly where he was at the end of Infinity War. We're just getting him right back to that spot. But in 2 seasons of the show, 12 episodes, what have we learned about Loki that we didn't already know before this show? We're not learning more about his life on Asgard. We're not learning more about his relationship with Thor. Even Sylvie, they made a whole big stink about Sylvie and her being of different variant and all that stuff. We didn't learn anything about her. Does she even have a Thor? Like, we didn't learn anything about her Odin. We still don't know what the fuck what is the what's the word that they call where they had to prune her, like her whatever the thing that they had to prune her for, whatever her anomaly,
her transgression,
what her issue was. We haven't learned anything about these characters, especially when it comes to Loki. Like, yeah, he saved the multiverse. He ended up being a good guy. We saw that already at the end of Infinity War. He was already,
but he didn't say the multiverse. Even in Infinity War, I think this is different. Like, he really took every timeline, put it on his shoulders, and became the god of stories to maintain all of existence. That's not the same as Thanos killing him. Like, to me, that dude is doing something for the rest of eternity with determination and the lifespan of a god that could only be done by him. Like,
right.
That is a different arc. That is a different arc. Hold up. That is a different arc than the Infinity War arc. And most importantly, this ain't the same Loki. So you took a Loki from a timeline at Avengers, and then that Loki did all this. So to me, unless you fundamentally misunderstand the timeline stuff that they're saying, it's not the same guy. We're watching a different guy go through an arc and become literally the most important figure in the universe, just holding everybody together. And on a meta level, I really love the God of Mischief becoming the God of stories and protection of timelines and free will. That is amazingly huge of responsibility that the other Loki, I don't think, would have ever picked up that mantle, because that Loki never really became a hero. He just was like, my brother gonna kill you. And he was like, no, you not, nigga. You dead. That's
he didn't have a chance to. He got killed. So
yeah. But yeah, I get I'm not saying he's.
But I agree completely on Sylvie.
I agree. He is in a different space. I'm not saying that, but we didn't really I don't think they did enough to really get him. Like, he changed from a fucking PowerPoint presentation, watching his other, basically his other life. But we didn't learn enough about Mobius to get him to the point that he's really wanted to save Mobius and the other members of the TVA. We didn't.
That's real.
Yeah, so we didn't get enough from these other characters to justify why this Loki is so invested in saving them more than his own brother. Like, he can now go back in time. He can do all this stuff now. He can repair all these relationships that he feels bad about. We ain't see him try to repair his relationship. Like, even though you think about the first Thor movie,
but that would be, first of all, I
did all of this for you, Dad. I love you, Dad. Like, we see that this Loki, he did everything for us. He lashed out and he made terrible mistakes, but they don't even reference Thor.
I think what you're saying, but what you're saying with that, to me, is way pettier than what his purpose ended up being. Like,
yeah, and
let me go fix my nigga. Yeah. All of existence is on the brink.
I agree.
I want to go fix my mistakes on my dad. That's what the old selfish Loki would have done. I think.
Yep.
I
really think they.
Go ahead, Regine.
No question. After listening, because of course I haven't watched it, so
that's fine.
I'm just I feel like I'm on YouTube watching y'all. I'm just into it. I still feel like I usually am. But my question is, because I'm listening to both of y'all, and it just sounds like it's on. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. that it feels like it's almost like two sides of the same coin, but one is macro and one is micro. Like the micro is like Loki throwing himself in front of his brother and sacrificing himself for his brother, and then he throws himself essentially in front of the timeline and becomes this god of stories that's protected, that's kind of sacrifices himself in a sense, because he used to be this really selfish person, and now he's like, well, I'm going to protect all these things because I see how fucked up it's possibly going to become, and I'm going to try to be some type of buffer. Yeah. Like he was sort of like he was a buffer for his brother, but he died. So it kind of sounds that, I mean, this is like, again,
so
I think
looking in one of the main differences to me is like, even because Loki's never been a good guy before. He can do anti-hero. He can't be. Yeah. He's never good. He's always doing shit in the shadiest way possible. If it works out for somebody else, fine. But he ain't really a good person.
Yep.
That episode 5 worked so well for me because I said he gonna kill Sylvie. That's the only way out of this shit. She killed, and they pushed, and they did such a good job of pushing you to that point of like, yeah, that's what Loki does.
I did agree.
He gotta do it. You would have even understood if a hero did it. That's how much of it they pigeonholed him. And for him to say, no, I'll sacrifice myself for everybody. Nah, man, I gotta give credit. That's character development. That's not something the other Loki would have done.
No, I see there, Rod. I disagree with you. I do agree that it is character development, but I think that that character development relies on the fact that the other Loki would have done it, because the other Loki sacrificing himself for Thanos isn't for his brother. It's because he knows what the threat Thanos represents, and he knows his brother is that nigga who's going to get the job done if he can't get it done. So he's like, yo, I have to do whatever to keep this, because the sun will shine on us again, brother. And he's been through it. I feel like that Loki has already been through it, where he's like, no.
I think sacrificing yourself for your brother not the same as sacrificing yourself.
But see, it's not for, that's why I disagree. It's not for your brother. It's because he knows the threat level.
But in that scene, it's literally to save Thor.
No, it's because he realizes that Thor can stop Thanos, and Thanos represents a threat level that is going to destroy the universe. He knows what Thanos represents. Because he's been with Thanos. He knows what Thanos' goal is from the first Avengers movie. So he knows what Thanos is about. So he's like, oh shit, Thor is the only one. I know who I am. I'm not that nigga.
I guess what I'm saying is it's bigger to me than 1 second of dying and literally the rest of existence, you holding all of existence together.
When you don't know when you don't know what comes after it, it's God sacrificing his life. No resurrections this time.
Right, but you do. That's the thing. You do know what comes with holding all the timelines together. That's scarier. To me, that's a bigger burden to hold it all together for everybody. You can't even participate in it. That's a bigger burden for that character to me.
Death is always a burden. So I don't know. It's a tomato.
People die every day, B. You say it all the time. So you can't pull that with me.
Well, this is a God. This is a God who doesn't die, though.
But that's why I was
he died in the other one.
Well, that's
what Thanos said. There's no resurrections to stop.
Dying is easy. You do it once.
Not for gods. Yeah.
You die once.
Not the true death.
You die once. You hold the stories together forever.
But that's why I was asking Rod. Like, is what you're describing the macro?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's why I was asking that question.
I mean, because they wrote a macro story. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a meta story about stories. Like, that's really what Loki season 2 turned into. Like, it's more of a philosophy on timelines and causality than it is on like just what happened with B-15's family. Like, and that's a choice they made. I wanted to know what happened with B-15's family, but they chose to make a story about like, what if this one dude who was extremely selfish and manipulative had an arc that made him be the most important person in the entire universe, and he self-sacrificed that for everyone else that will never know.
So I appreciate where he ended up. It's just the way they got there. Yeah. I wish they developed more.
I agree.
I get it. Like I think a big problem with these series is they too short. I think that's I was on a MC University and they were recapping it every week. And that's a big issue with a lot of the Disney Plus series, period. They're very short and they want to do a lot in a very short period of time. and you don't have showrunners and you don't have head writers, the shit is kind of a crapshoot. So they accomplish some goals, but they always leave something on the floor with all these series. And if you go back and you're listening to For All Nerds, go back and listen to every last one of these they've ever done and listen to it's going to be, yeah, they didn't do this shit though, right? Because you can't do but so much in 30 minutes 8 times. It's not going to work.
Because even like Falcon and Winter Soldier, I feel like we learned more about Bucky than we learned more about Sam. The only thing we learned about Sam is he got a sister.
Yep.
You're right.
And that is an issue because I feel like the two things that are very undeveloped in this, because the causality stuff is something that it's just something that's obsessed my mind since I was a kid. Is the idea of free will, is the idea of choice, is the idea, does it even matter? Like, because everything is happening according to a plan, or do we have free will? Which one is it? You know, because if everything's happening to a plan, or is it that your free will is just part of this plan, and because you can't see God's hand in it all, you don't even know what it is. And that's why I'm like, He Who Remains to me kind of represents that idea of God, where it's like, it's this person who's overseeing everything, but he don't give a fuck because bad things happen. But Loki overseeing everything and bad things still happening, it's just replacing one. And I don't think that's addressed enough. It's little things like that.
One with the other.
Yeah, and whether or not, he's doing it benevolently, bad things are still going to happen. So I don't think it's like any different than He Who Remains. And I don't think that's addressed enough. It's little things like that. I don't think the idea of causality is really addressed enough. But you can't do that when you're trying. But then that's why I do disagree, Rob, because I think there was more time wasted in this second season than it was constructively used. I feel like where they got to at the end, yes, was a good point. But it's just like, fast forward, zip, okay, character development. And F everything else that could have been done because we want to have shots of Keelan Power. We want to have, the idea that Loki erases himself in that scene and all that was like, so?
Right. It was very much so. And it was just too many things. For me, it was too many things happening like that. Like things that's supposed to be monumental. Yeah. Why do I care that a squiggly line on the screen got deleted? Because it represents billions of lives. I felt nothing. I actually
thought that was really well done and on purpose. Because in that scene, it's really apparent that like it's a job for the people that work there. And seeing it on the screen, if they never go and show us the spaghetti, I'm with you. But when they show us the spaghetti, like, oh, that's real people. Yeah, it hit different when it's you. Especially for Sylvie, like for that to be the thing for her to be like, oh fuck, yeah, this is real. You can't outrun this. I destroyed everything. I think the other thing too, I say, Ben, it's not about him making choices in the timeline and like keeping bad shit from happening. The thing that Sylvie fucked up is all of existence is done. So at that point, his choices are either kill Sylvie so that He Who Remains can run shit, or I take up the mantle myself to keep everyone existing because I care about my friends existing. That was his full arc.
And they're Rod, and that's why I've said, and I don't like the argument that it's about showrunners, etc. But I do think that there was a problem with this season because this season creates a problem that wasn't part of season 1, and I don't understand it because allegedly it's all the same people writing this. End of season 1, Loki says, "Here is this." I mean, He Who Reigns says, "When I die, it's Kane's all the way down." You know what I mean? That's all you got. Kane's forever. And then start of season 2, it's like, oh no, the loom is exploding, blah, blah, blah. All the timelines are going to be erased. That's not what we were, and so it was a problem created in this season that had to be fixed this season, but that wasn't the problem that we were told was coming. And that just was, to me, a time waster. Like, I can't, and even though it does allow you to get to the point of now Loki has to make this big self-sacrifice, that's not what happened at the end of season 1. And it's suddenly like, oh no, I had this fail-safe in place so that, all this whoop-whoop, but it's like, that's all whoop-whoop so that we can get to this endpoint. And that's where I'm like,
I respect that. I think the thing, like when they say it's not, when he's trying to figure out how to like teleport through time and he realizes it's not about the when or the mechanism, but the who and how much you care about that person. Like that essentially, like I said, it's the meta point for this whole fucking show is it's actually more about the characters and not the bigger like what causes what how does it work.
The science.
And I think that shit will always like hurt a science fiction show, which is essentially what this is. It's kind of like how Lost ended, and some people hate that shit to this day. Like, what you mean it's about the characters? I want to know the science of how this works. And I think, you know, as you can see, it's divisive.
But there was a lot of time wasted on the science here. That's the thing. I'm a Lost head, and I think Lost, while its ending isn't perfect, I think the journey is, and that's all that mattered to me. Is
which took place over how many episodes per season?
Oh, don't get me wrong, but
they had time.
They had time, but when they wasted time, I called them out for it. And so when they waste time on Loki, I'm gonna call them out for it.
Right?
Just because you got 6 seasons. Yeah.
When you waste time with 22 episodes,
it's a lot easier
for 5 or 6. Yeah, people don't hit as hard. When you waste 3, y'all were mad about 3 minutes. When you waste 3 minutes, it hit different when it's 8 episodes. And that's what I keep getting to, and then that's really important. You like,
but I felt like they wasted a whole ass episode.
Y'all are like the things y'all are upset about are things that could be solved with more episodes. But the margin of error with 8 is so fucking small.
Yes,
3 minutes can ruin something for somebody.
So why didn't they give us more episodes? They have money.
Marvel's whole thing is they are changing it up for this Daredevil. They're changing up for Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil's mad episodes though.
Yeah, this new Daredevil they say is gonna have new episodes. Although you did see they threw out the writers and started over. Okay.
Yes.
But when you have more episodes, there's more margin for error where you can like fuck up and fix it. With this one, man, you lose somebody one episode, you can't get them back. And I think that's what happened for y'all.
No, because like I say, it ain't like I stopped watching, and this ain't like Moon Knight where I was like, when I watched the first 4 episodes of Moon Knight, I was like, there's a snowball's chance in hell they pulled this shit together, and I did not think they
fucking
could
happen.
Because as a writer, you know, as someone
hold on. I didn't say you stopped watching. You assumed something I didn't say. I didn't say. I said they lost you. They couldn't get you. So you start having some questions, and then it's like, why they eating pie? That's we don't got time for this. That's that feeling you're actually feeling when you're wondering why the fuck are they talking about jet skis or whatever the fuck they were talking about. That feeling is we are running out of time. We don't have time for this.
Yeah.
If you think this is character development. And so I think it's a major part of a lot of these Marvel shows. You don't get the fuck up but so much with this much room. And I think for y'all, it felt too fucked up and y'all they couldn't get you back. Like to me, they got me back with 5 and 6. I said, okay, I see where y'all going with this.
I mean, it was cool. It ended well, but like my problem is like it was from the jump. You don't have Sylvie. Like, look, you've spent 50 minutes and you ain't got Sylvie in your first episode. Then, nigga, that's something you figure out in the writer's room.
Right.
That's early. That's an early like no, bro. Yeah, somebody got to stand up and be like no.
Michael,
and nobody did.
Michael, you had a comment.
Be nice to have a showrunner.
That's my biggest issue with regards to season 2 of Loki. When you think about how it started versus where it ended, the only episodes that matter are 1, 5, and 6.
There we go.
2, 3, and 4. What was the point of any of it? Like, especially because it all pretty much got erased with him going back.
There we go.
Like,
yeah. But like,
so going back to what Ben Amin was saying, like a lot of it was just wasting time. Like, I don't care about any of this stuff. And you focused a lot on the science. In episodes 2, 3, and 4, only to be like, oh, that science stuff doesn't matter. It was about the people. So then what the fuck did I waste 3 episodes for?
We don't have the time for this, right? But Rod, I will say it did when Ben had agreed, like it did end beautifully for Loki himself as that version of Loki. It was a beautiful story for him. It was a beautiful end, if you will, for him. I was still mad about it, but it was still a beautiful end. I mean, I just didn't like how we got there.
That's exactly what I said when I first started off telling y'all how I liked it. I liked it for Loki. Like to me as a character, he was served well. Everybody else, I don't know. Like even the TVA as an organization.
No.
Like, I feel like you need another spinoff with the TVA as an organization for us to even know what those characters are about. But the show was called
the MCU again. Like,
but the show was called Loki, and so I get it. Like, it was always gonna be Tom Hiddleston and Loki's character that was gonna be the main thing, and everything else was kind of a shell game. I won't lie, I did enjoy some of the episodes y'all were saying y'all didn't think mattered. I enjoyed some of them joints, especially the one where my man went back and became a movie star.
That's hilarious. I
that shit
enjoy
was
that
so
shit.
funny.
I like that, like especially that actor, that motherfucker in every scene. I loved him all the way through it. Like,
oh my god, so funny.
When he was possessed and he came back dancing in, when Sylvie was
when he was talking
him.
big, when he was getting interrogated, but he knew all the interrogation shit, so he was talking big shit. Oh man, I fucked with that so heavy.
He's that's what I'm saying. All of it was highly entertaining because they have people like Tom Hiddleston, because they have Owen Wilson. I'll watch these people do anything. I've never seen that woman who plays Sylvie, but she's amazing.
Yeah.
I'll watch her do anything. You know, so
Yeah,
that's why
they had
works.
moments, but I
Yeah.
absolutely hear what y'all saying. They had.
Right.
I was entertained enough by those moments.
Oh,
and
yeah.
But it
When he
felt,
pruned Ravona, come on, man, that shit.
That shit was so
it was so
unceremonious.
cold-blooded. It was so like word.
It was like, that's it, bitch, you're done.
It's so easy.
Oh, okay.
evil Miss Minutes was giving. Okay,
Yeah, give me.
I mean, she, that shirt, y'all
was.
don't fuck around. Yo, that
I got
shirt
her
right
on.
there. She became that season 2, dog. Oh my god, the energy. I get it. Like I said, I enjoy
That stuff I wanted to see more of, but they went through it too quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had
I think the stuff
how
that
many
they went
episodes?
to, but the stuff that they went through too quick,
It's
they
gonna
should
come
have.
back to it every time,
coulda
dog.
used
They
more.
don't have enough time, and it's fucking these shows up, dog. You wanted more Miss Minutes? They was like, that's enough.
All
I
right.
think, but it could also be some of that could be solved by better choices.
I agree.
Whoa.
I think they should follow the.
There is such
I
thing as
think
too
they
many
should follow the
episodes.
Netflix.
I ain't say 22. I ain't say 22. I said 15. Daredevil was
the Netflix
wasn't Daredevil like 15?
13. The
13.
Netflix 13
13 is
episode
normal.
thing.
Yeah.
It like I said, I know all the Netflix Marvel shows weren't great, but
No.
when it came to like developing a character and taking some
Mhm.
time, they had the time. So you could the second and third leads in those shows. I know more about them than
Yes.
any second or third lead in any of these Marvel shows.
Foggy, all of them. Yeah, you're right.
All
yeah,
of
no,
them.
you're right.
You're right.
Okay, but what the fuck about Kang now? Like,
No, we got it. Because that's one thing we were talking about this before the episode, before we started recording, is one thing we all agree is the brilliance of how these writers either disposed of Kang where we'll never see him again, or left it open where Kang will return and be this big threat in the
Yep.
Kang era or whatever. What's it called? Damn.
Kang Dynasty.
Kang
Kang Dynasty. Man, remember when that was like, yes.
Bruh.
Now it's like,
They completely fucked
Maybe.
that up. Like completely got rid of all of this excitement. It's like, oh yeah, that movie.
Jonathan
Yeah.
Majors fucked up the bag. That's the one thing in history. Guinness World Records. How to fuck up the bag.
Bruh. That's
I mean,
like I said,
he up
I
there.
think that's another reason I look so fondly on the series is because I understand how impossible that task must
Yeah.
have been.
Yeah.
Because when they said they were doing this and it was coming out, I was like, okay. I don't know what y'all think. Like this shit better not end with like Kang winning and shit. Because what y'all gonna do? And they wrote it in a way where you could literally have him winning. Like he could come back. Like say he beat this case in real life. He could come back and be like, it was my plan that someone had to hold the timeline together. This is my plan too. I'm that nigga. And
Yep.
it would work. You could have them be like, we'll never see this nigga again. They took care of him. That shit would work. Like they could recast them. They could take another character like, oh, this person's the next variant. They did.
Yep.
They had so much shit that they were able to leave on the table for the next person to handle. Just I had to take a bow for them there. I think maybe that's another reason I'm giving the series a lot of credit because I thought that was impossible.
But let me ask you all this in terms of like if they do end up getting rid of Kang because of what happens with Jonathan Majors, I'm like, who you think fucked up worse, him or Gina Carano with Star Wars?
Oh, easily.
Him.
Oh,
Him.
easily.
Him.
Easily.
Him.
Gina.
It
Hey,
would have
dog,
never.
you know why it's him? Well, okay. First of all, you made me think. It depends on how you feel about this. I think it's him because the nigga can actually act.
Yes.
So
Okay.
I think that's like it's like, bruh, you actually had a future. They canceled
Yes.
Magazine Dreams,
For
which
sure.
people were saying might be an Oscar
Yep.
bid picture, and Disney was like, no, cut that shit out. So like, I feel like his bag was bigger, but you did make me think, Michael. If we go by talent, then you could be like, she never deserved a bag. She can't
Yes.
act.
Oh, she can't.
She-
act, but
she
was about to
fucked
get
up
her- They was about to make a whole show
Yeah.
around her.
Yeah,
With no acting.
she fucked
No,
up the
with no-
lottery.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. But it's a lottery either way because, there's a lot of great actors who
True.
never get a bag like Jonathan Majors.
True. But it's
Possibly
like watching
throws
a
away.
basketball game and seeing like, man, Kevin Durant should have won more rings as opposed to like, oh, this nigga hit the luckiest half-court shot of all time to win his ring. You're not the same. You know,
you
he had the
ain't
Kevin
even
Durant pack.
Robert Ory. You like the 12th nigga on the
Yeah,
bench.
yeah.
Like,
You
yeah.
like Swaggy P. You know what I'm saying? You like Jordan Poole. Like how Jordan Poole, well, he won with the Warriors, but now we see what he looked like on his own. It's like, nah, bro, you whack. That's Gina Carano.
Jesus Christ.
I think Rod answered for all of us.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, and it's funny too because the worst part is he's incredible in this series. Like I loved him as Victor Timely.
Yeah.
When he shows up as He Who Remains at the end of this shit, it's
that was one of my favorite things to see.
Yeah, just to see how different he was. Man, the way he talked from Victor Timely to
him.
I'm like, man, this nigga's.
That's another reason that those episodes 2 through whatever. That's another reason I think they have those episodes in there is to see him flex his like other shit, so they could be like when he just turns out to be a fucking scammer, bro. That I was not ready for that. I was sure he was motherfucking a genius. And then when he's just like, listen, I'm from Chicago, the home of the shadiocracy of the world. I was like, this nigga's a hustler.
No, that nigga said it was a prototype.
What a twist. and then the meta levels of this nigga mocking his own fucking stutter he made up for a character.
Yes.
As He Who Remains in the six.
Yes.
They had some moments in this shit, bro.
Yeah, they did it. I mean, and it once again, it's by the greatness of these actors that a lot of these moments come. Because, like I say, Owen Wilson sells nothing. You know, there is nothing there. These ain't your fucking kids, homie. You don't know this family from nothing. You chose a billion timelines, and this is the one you chose where you suddenly had these 2 little boys, whatever. But he sells it just by him looking wistfully at nothing. You know, I'm just like, wow. You know,
they have to do a lot of showing because they don't have, a lot of telling because they don't have time to show you.
Yeah.
And even the friends thing to me, when he's like, because these are my friends and I don't want to be alone. That's acting. That's not because the script made y'all friends. I never felt like y'all were buddies.
No, there we go. That's what I'm saying.
You sitting in that bar with tears in your eyes talking about that's the homies. I'm like, I guess they the homies, man. We gotta say the homies.
Because that's my problem, right? To that Sylvie sees everything disintegrate and it's like, let's go have a brew. It's like these characters' choices are kind of, you know, and then so they can get to the next point, and then suddenly they're like, we're homies, you know, and it's whatever.
I think they did Sylvie the biggest disservice of any actor.
Oh, I mean, it's ridiculous. Because that one alone, when she sees the world disintegrating and she's like, no, let's go have a brew, is like.
What was that?
What was that? Yeah.
Just her being in McDonald's for 5 weeks is whack.
Yeah, what was that? Yeah.
Y'all couldn't think of nothing? I thought she was going to at least go back to where she got pruned from and be like, mama, you know, something. Something.
Yeah, that shit gone. Mama gone.
But one thing I will say though, if we are going to get more Kang from here, I don't like what they've done so far with that character. In the sense of like, this is the kind of the third version that we've seen of him, and every single version he's gotten defeated. So how the fuck I'm supposed to be scared of this nigga? Like you got beat up by ants. Like you got beat up by Ant-Man. And again, you get disintegrated, and then now the third time you He Who Remains. Now you He Who got beat up. Like you ain't there no more. You got He Who got taken out.
I like what Rod is saying.
How am I supposed to be scared of you? You're
I'm
supposed
not
to be
scared
a big multiversal threat, but Ant-Man beat you.
His ants beat you.
Yeah.
His ants beat you. And as Rod's saying, maybe he'll come up, he'd be like, oh, that was just part of my plan. Like, you know, like that uncle be like, oh, I thought about this. This was my plan all along. Like, great. Hopefully that happens. But like right now, it's like, okay, he's not.
He would have to kill Ant-Man to start off in that film.
Yeah.
Yeah, something.
Wholesale.
Once again, like Marvel and the villains in the last phase, the villains they not villaining like they used to, dog. They gotta we done seen too many villains at this point for y'all to be like skipping yada 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 through their stories. Yeah. They gotta fuck some people up. Like
especially if you're telling me this man is more deadly than Thanos.
Yeah. And like I get so technically he's more deadly than Thanos because he destroying multiverses and shit, but like it don't feel like it don't feel like he's destroying
Ant-Man. He's making threats like, oh, I killed Thor. Didn't I kill you before?
Right.
It's benevolent. Like because Loki, he who remains, no pun intended. He Who Remains is the one who's the deadliest. Like that Kang the Conqueror is not as deadly as He Who Remains.
Yep.
But He Who Remains is so benevolent with it, it don't feel villainous. Like if he was like, I fucked that timeline up because I don't like some shit they did, then you go, oh, he's a villain. But he was like, I'm just trying to save everybody, baby. That's what It don't hit the same.
And also because he's trying to save the sacred timeline that we've been watching this whole time. So it's like, yeah, save that
Right,
shit,
I'm on
fam.
his side.
Yeah, fuck all these
Say
other
that shit,
timelines
nigga. I
you've
need
been
my
pruning.
stories. Say
Yeah.
that shit.
And he ain't
Like, you
even
can prune
fighting
to
back.
us. Yeah,
He
you
not
can
even
prune.
fighting back. He letting them. He like, man, y'all fucking up.
Yep.
But okay, like that's his whole arc.
I was trying to keep the story that y'all been watching going. Y'all want to see this
Right.
other shit? Like, you know.
Okay, y'all want the old X-Men back? That's y'all fault.
Like, what if ain't that good, bro? Come on, fam. And I love What If, but it ain't, you know, that shit ain't Robert Downey and the rest of the crew, fam. You know what I mean? That's the one y'all know and love.
I think
Stop
the way
trying.
they should fix it is they should recast Kang and they should make it Terrence Howard from.
We already
He's gonna say
said
that. We
this.
Iron
said
Man
that
1.
shit,
We
right?
said this already.
Oh,
We
y'all
already
too?
said
Okay.
this. Yes.
So we on the same page
We've
then.
been
They
on
need
the
to,
same page.
that'll fix it.
It's the ultimate play.
It's the old. Nobody will see it coming. It's the long. He loved math in real life, so he probably do got the equations. He know.
That's in real life.
I was thinking the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy. They got the same color scheme.
Oh man,
Oh.
he did such. Now you know what? Let me take back some of my slander. I forgot. He was a good villain. My
He's
bad.
a fantastic
He
villain.
was
Yeah.
great. I
Yeah.
loved him. God damn, he was good.
And he survived.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah. When he was holding, because you know in real life he was holding like a tennis ball when he was holding Rocket's face,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and this
he's
nigga
acting.
was acting.
Acting.
God damn, black acting school.
Black acting school.
He had the Viola Davis with the spit coming out. Like,
Yes.
Oh
Rod,
man,
I was about to start an Instagram account for my action figures, and I wanted to call it Black Action School. All right,
Do
I
it,
think
then.
I'm gonna have to do it now.
you got to do it now.
All
Do it,
right, I'm
then.
gonna have to do it. So, is that it for Loki?
I think so.
All right.
I think we got it all out.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, once again, please starting on off with Michael. Let the people know where they can find you at.
Yo, you can find me everywhere. Black Gay Comic Geek, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. And next thing I'm reviewing is probably gonna be I just watched Blue Eye Samurai. That's on Netflix. That shit is fire.
Yeah.
Fire,
flames.
flames.
Mhm.
Shout out to Michael Green and
Yep.
his wife. Yep. Shout out to both of them. That shit's pure flames.
Yeah, I was surprised too.
Shit, me too.
Man, I'm ready for season 2.
Man, I ain't even finished the first one yet, so I
Oh,
still got a few more to
okay.
go. But it's fucking. I
Right.
had to take that bitch slow, 'cause that shit's fire.
I don't blame you, dog.
Yeah, I'm about to go. We
You
gonna
know,
do a rewatch.
That's another thing Marvel could have done to just make every episode an hour. That's another way to get
Yeah, that's
more out
8
of less.
episodes, and I learned something. All the characters they got.
Yep.
Mhm.
Every
Man.
episode an hour. You got time for B characters? Marvel, call me, man. I can fix this shit.
And Blue Eye's doing so much, like with Japanese culture. You're learning
Yep.
all this shit, plus the characters, plus the action. Is just Lord have mercy. Yeah,
Mhm.
that shit's silly. So all right,
You know they brought in real stunt actors to do the action.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm
I couldn't.
sure.
But to me, that's a surprise because normally with animated stuff, they just but they brought it. They showed. I seen them behind the scenes. They brought real people fighting with
Nah, but
swords.
like
I was-
Avatar: The Last Airbender, they had actual martial
Yeah.
arts doing
Mhm.
doing the
yeah,
Yep.
Because
That's so dope.
rotoscoping, I think they did that with a lot of the Star Wars too, with some of those, with some of the Jedi fight scenes. Because they've
They
been
did bring in-
rotoscoping with dancing and stuff.
Mhm.
okay.
So when they do fighting, it's that's something.
They
different.
did.
Okay, I'm
That's-
learning something new. Y'all put me on. Shit.
Oh
They
yeah, I remember. I'll never forget that when Beauty and the Beast went up for the Oscars and they showed how they made that shit, and I was sitting here like, what the fuck?
That's how I was when I saw the Blue Eye Samurai thing. I was like, wait, hold up, that was real.
Now y'all was real. Regine, let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me on almost all the things at Lock It Down. That's LOCKETT down. You can find me on IG as Lock It Down Official. And if you want to learn more about Wink, you do the hashtag at WinkNYC.
All right.
And you can find me, Rodimus Prime, on Twitter, on the Blackout Tips everywhere else that you find shit. And check out Drapetomaniacs. It's a podcast I wrote for about Black history, but it's also like comedy and sketch. It's real educational and fun, and it's made for Black people by Black people. And it's not just like, trauma porn. So y'all check that shit out. And of course, like I said, the blackout tips, make sure y'all do that. And if you loved Loki, feel free to hit me up on social media. I loved it as well. If you hated it, don't hit me up at all, because I don't argue with people on the internet.
I ain't gonna hit you up, man. That's all.
Yeah, this the only argument I do over stuff is when I come on here and be like, but I thought it was cool.
But I thought, well, listen,
Yeah.
you don't ever have to watch it ever again, Michael, but you know, it is what it is.
All right. You can also find us at For All Nerds pretty much everywhere on the internet. Type in For All Nerds wherever you're at. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all them other social medias. It doesn't matter. Hit us up. And I'm at DJ Ben Amin. That's at Tatiana King. You can also find us on all those other social media platforms as well. And that's about it. We out of here. Happy holidays, all that. You probably already had your, Thanksgiving meal by now, but
Leftover turkey.
there you go.
Stay black.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Ben Amin, and thank you for watching that video that you just watched. Make sure you hit the buttons below, that like, that subscribe, do all that right now.